Welcome, 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 welcome. Hey, everybody. I hope you get a chance to share this out. I am going live today in both of my spaces if you get a chance to share. So I just want to say hello to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the priestess of purpose, pleasure, and passion. And today I want to break down something as a result of sharing some other things. I want to break it down, some things to share with you all. Let me tell you how I got here today to share this with you. Hey, 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 hey. I want to ask my tribe, we're getting ready for the Fab Factor, which is I call the Get Juicy 7 Fab Factor. Hey, love. I call it the Get Juicy 7 Fab Factor. We're getting ready for that. That starts on Sunday, and it's a 7-day process to activate your feminine abundance and to get juicy in the process while doing it. And so we start on the 17th. In addition to that, I have been sharing in my business big incubator, which is the mastermind for 2021. Well, I've been inspired in preparing and doing the work. Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody, Lottie Dottie, and everybody on both, on all platforms. I'm so excited to be connecting with you. I can't get these shoulders to stay down, but I was definitely inspired by money. And green and the green energy and gold, which, we are in this golden age. We have entered into the golden age. If some of you have forgotten a few things, consider looking at the difference between a year, an age, a decade, and look at what the influences have been, because that when we're in an age, we mean that this is not just the year of the woman. I've been saying that this is the age of the woman. So listen, I've been inspired by launching 2 programs at the same time. I've had my head down and actually working and preparing and studying and doing my own process, working my own process. So, when I tell you all to work a process, I'm not just saying for you to work the process and not for me to work a process, right? And so, of course, I've been working my process. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of writing and recording and sharing this year with you all, because I heard Spirit say it's time, it's the season. And so when we look at the abundance mindset, greetings, when we look at our abundance mindset, I want to make sure you all can see me good on IG. Let me come a little closer here. All right. Here we go. Okay. So when we look at shifting from lack, from the thing that we want to manifest, the desires of our heart, that, when you are a spiritual business or a spiritual entrepreneur or any of that, hey, how are y'all doing? Just let me know if I'm walking down your street. If you are a spirit-led entrepreneur, you may not have a spiritual business. You could be operating in corporate America, or you still on a job. You could be transitioning from a 9-to-5 job. You could into entrepreneurship. Either way, wherever you classify this, one thing you may be able to relate to is this. Particularly those of you who are teachers and you have mastered your craft and that type of thing. One of the things that you can relate to is you tend to have to live it before you teach it. If you don't live it before you teach it, it's not authentic. It's not real. And so I know, and I learned this, one of the things I learned from Miss Iyanla Vanzant is she used to teach in New York City for years, and she would go to New York, and one of the things that she would say is that, let's just say she was doing a teaching on forgiveness. Well, she would talk about how there will be opportunities to forgive, and so that led up to her being able to teach it. That's why you ought to be very careful of pastors and spiritual leaders who are shaming you or are teaching hell and damnation, when most of the time they're teaching the area of their weakness, or their growth. And so be careful of a whole lot of hell and damnation and shaming. And that's why it creates a fall. But anyway, I didn't come here to talk about hell and damnation and your religious programming, although it does have a factor. And so today, Facebook sent out some reminders to me, right? You know how Facebook sends out reminders. And so Facebook sent out a reminder of how long I have been teaching the game of yes and how to play it. And it was 2012 that I started the series. We did an entire year of yes in my online ministry. We did an entire year of yes, saying yes. At that time, the game of yes, how to play it, right? This, like, literally every month. And so I got reminded by Facebook. I just went through my posts and I was able to see myself. I saw myself go through a coming out process. I would call that, before that time, like my caterpillar stage. And so I wasn't fully operating in my yes in my caterpillar stage. Can anybody relate to being in a caterpillar stage in your life, right? If you can relate to being in a caterpillar stage in your life, then you can relate to what I'm saying. If you can relate to a period in time where you were hiding, or you felt hidden, and you did not necessarily share your spiritual gifts, but the people around you who experienced your spiritual gifts knew you were gifted. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the people who on my post, I saw my coming out process. And I saw my Crystallis. You all know what the Crystallis is. Everybody loves to be the butterfly, but we don't look at the time where we're in Crystallis. What is Crystallis? You all know that when we talk about the juicy process, juicy, right? Joyfully unraveling intimacies, creative, yes. Juicy has evolved from just being sensual transformation and sensuality, although that's still relevant and very relevant, because your sensuality is a gateway to abundance. Hint, hint, hint. And so when you look at Crystallis, one of the things we do in our rites of passage process is we give ourselves to liquefy. See, in the Crystallis phase, you have to be able to liquefy you. And that's why I call the ladies who go through my rites of passage program juicy butterflies, because there's a part where your Crystallis is not out of pain, but when your Crystallis is born from pleasure, then you create a different level of results. Many of us manifest. We're awesome manifestors. We know that we're metaphysicians. We know that we're spirit led. We know that we are full of faith. We know it. Yeah. Can you say, I know it? I know it. Just tell me in the comments if you know that you know that you know. I love that song because when I was at Southern University, Reverend Milton Brunson had a song called Available to You. How many of you all heard that song? Milton Brunson's Available to You. I used to sing that song at Southern University. I didn't know why I was singing it. I didn't know what I was getting ready to say yes to on the journey. Oh, you know the song? Y'all know the song on Facebook. Available to You. My hands, my ears, my eyes. Oh my God. I don't want to give you too much, but when we get into the Fab Factor, when we launch the Fab Factor, the 7-day process, we're going to get into being available to your abundance. So maybe I'm just giving you a precursor, but look, that Facebook post allowed me to see my coming out, my Crystallis, and my wings through my yes. Because at different phases of my process, I was saying yes to myself at different phases. In other words, I want to talk to you. I want to get into your business a little bit more. Can I get all up in your video? Can I get all up and walk down your alley a little bit? Because in order to walk down your alley, I had to have visited the street. In order for, I'm not here to call you out or make up something or just to sell you some shiny thing, right? And so what I want to do is remember the time in your life where you were looking for somebody else to say yes to you, to give you permission, to activate your authority. And then there was something that you may have started saying no to, or there were things that said no to you in your life. Okay, I want you to consider that when we talk about prosperity and abundance, because I am going to give you another thing that shifted everything. There will be many things that shift everything in different seasons of your life. That's why when I do my programs, I try to tell people, so what if you do another program more than one time? Because you meet yourself in different seasons. In some different seasons, you are open to one thing, whereas you might have been closed to another. And opening with your yes to one thing opens you to another. Now, when you have fear-based religion and fear-based thoughts, and fear-based everything in your culture, when you are consuming fear-based media, when you are repeating fear-based thoughts, okay, we're going to talk about that, because many of us, in the words of Pastor Wilson, are so such a much, we don't think that our fear-based words count. But in this season of 2021, everything that we say out of our mouth is going to count towards our abundance. So why not start with what you're saying yes to? Those of you who are enrolled in the Fab Factor, I'm here to ask you, have you been still saying yes to yourself? Are you still saying yes to yourself, no matter what's on the news, no matter the false reports and the false flags and the different things that are, some of us don't even know what I'm talking about, whether they're false flags or not, because I just say this, that the news is produced. But anywho, I'm going to keep on going, right? We don't want to get too political, because there's enough people getting political. And these are the things that separate our abundance mindset, because you begin to worry when people tell you to worry. You begin to be afraid when other people tell you to be afraid. You begin to become to think about scarcity when other people tell you, some of you, not all of you, probably none of you who are watching right now online. You feel me? Okay, so as I was working on the business incubator, the 2021 Rebirth 360 business incubator, one of the things, and you all know I've done different programs and that type of thing, I literally was looking and I saw that I couldn't put my hands on something that I wanted to teach to those who are in the business incubator. And as I was looking for, I was like, oh, I already taught this. I already shared this. If my girl Dana is here, she knows, or anybody who was on my investment team, you already know this principle. This is not new. And when I was Muslim back in the day, years ago, when I remember when I studied the Quran, one of the things they said is that a reminder is a blessing. Never get mad when somebody reminds you. That's for people who think you know everything, or think you have something to prove, or you don't know that you're operating on the need to have something to prove in terms of your worth and your value. A reminder is a blessing. Sometimes we don't like how the reminders come. But listen, check this out. I want to stay with how I got here to share with you. So I said, well, I'm going to share this openly, because when I did say yes to myself, it really was intended to be a love offering for the time and the season that we're in, a love offering for the ministry that was coming up inside of me. And I couldn't understand. I was like, well, I already taught this. I already say this. I already shared this thing about yesing to yourself. It really is a layered activity. The say yes to yourself. I thank you so much. One of the estheticians on EST IV Hydration, you got to tell me, who is EST IV Hydration, said that she listened to the activation session that I sent out to everybody who was enrolled, because I broke out the activation session and gave you some exercises to do, because some of us have already forgotten our yes between the 12-12 gateway and all of the gateways that have been, oh, what's up, sis? All of the gateways that we have been traveling through since then. And there's more to come, particularly in the month of February. I want somebody in here just to say, get ready, get ready, get ready. Get ready for your rebirth. Are you ready to rebirth? But let me tell you, in this time and in this season, through the change of our currency, through government operations and systems being questioned, through the exposure of levels of separation. And I want to say separation rather than calling it evil, calling it all the names that the media is calling it. I want to say separation, because The ego is always showing you. Thank you, Keela. Somebody just say, get ready. I'm ready. Rebirth ready. Come on. Somebody in the comments, see, there's power in your participation for yourself, not for me. Not just for me, at least. But listen, so when I was looking at this season that we're in, and we're talking about abundance, I understand that many of us need to get our mindset ready. You know, many of us have to shift our whole relationship with prosperity, with money, with lack, with all of this thing. And one of the things that motivated me to do the business incubator is because I've seen so many people who are in spiritual businesses, spiritual led business, who are artists, thank you, who are creatives, those of you who are, and I see you struggling, and I see you having high thoughts, and you're involved in ministry, and you give yourself away time and time again, just like I did. There are those of you who try to enter into entrepreneurship, and then the first thing you start doing is selling. I see us not handling our spiritual communities well. Come on now. There are more people, even in African traditional cultures, who are speaking about spiritual abuse. And so I hear these types of stories often. And one of the things that I did, remember last week I came in to show you my vision board, or to start the vision board. Now, those of you who are in Rebirth Woman, we're supposed to meet today for you to come on camera with me and show your vision board work. So I want to be accountable and show mine. I've been working on it. I want to show you something that really started ministering to me, and why I'm doing this segment on your yes, okay, today. I want to do this. So listen, this is my vision board. I want to just show you that I kept my word. I finished. I said I would paste the things that I saw. And remember, I also, for those of you who came into the business incubator special session on Sunday, I gave you some tips on how to do it digitally. I want to show you for accountability that I did my part. Okay. And there's a reason for that. I'm not done with my vision board, but I put my word out there about what I said I was going to do for my tribe. That'll minister right there. I don't even have to stay on that too long. Now I'm building multiple types of vision boards and that type of thing. But one of the things, let me go back to it. One of the things that inspired me to come on and to share with you all today is a lot of people said, thank you, LaTanya, for sharing the one thing that made people pivot, particularly when we went into it in the tribe. If you notice, my picture is here. See, my picture is here. A lot of people told me that they did not know to put their self on the vision board. I just want to come in right there. Tip number one, abundance mindset. You always have to put yourself in the picture. You always have to put yourself in the picture or the vision that you have. And when you find yourself being blocked from being able to see it, to feel it, to imagine it, to taste it, to speak it. Oh, good. I'm glad that, well, you didn't come to the business session on Sunday. And so we have to get you the replay. But to put yourself in it. And so you build vision boards with other people's faces. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You build vision boards with other people's faces. And many of us build vision boards with other people's faces because we still have the vision and the programming of somebody else in our mind about our vision. We still see it as something outside of ourselves rather than something that's coming up from within ourselves. I thank you all for those who said you didn't know to put your picture on it. It doesn't mean that it won't manifest. I know many of you have vision boards where you all have put things and they have come to pass. But I guarantee you, when we're talking about quantum manifestation, somebody put quantum manifestation in the chat. Somebody put quantum manifestation in the chat, even if you're watching the replay. Put quantum manifestation and put your name behind it. Put quantum manifestation and put your name behind it, or your initials behind it, because you got to put yourself in the picture in shifting everything for your abundance mindset. Now, that's not the real thing that I came to talk to you about. You ready? That's not the real thing that I came to talk to you about. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Ain't nothing like the real thing. Come on now. Are you the real thing? Are you live? Are you Memorex? Are you artificial intelligence in your femininity? Are you artificial intelligence in your love? Are you artificial intelligence in your sex? Now, I know that when we talk about sex, there are some purposes that artificial intelligence can serve. I believe we can agree on that. And I'm going to tell you about why. Okay, I'm going to tell you about this. Yes. Can we get grown? Can we get real grown? Somebody just tell me, go on and get real grown. I just need one person to just affirm for me, get real grown. The one tool that I came to talk to you about today in terms of shifting everything. Now, you all know I have an ebook called the Shift Everything Process, 21-day process ebook. And it's free for everybody who's in my tribe to at least be able to get a grasp of the process for themselves. And then thank you for the real grown. Get real grown. Come on now. All right, get real grown. Okay, I can get real grown. Okay, good. I was like, all right. I'm not looking for permission. I'm looking for acknowledgement. And I want to know, do we have a church, a juicy church in here? So when I look at this part of the game changer for my abundance mindset, let me break this down. I want to break it down in terms of your yes and your abundance and the feminine relationship between women and money in particular. Now, if it applies to men, I'm not leaving you out, but because a creative man, a divine masculine, a man who's centered in his divine masculine, can listen to this and not omit himself based on gender. LGBTQ and whatever other initials, not to be disrespectful, you can listen to this and not have to be identified through your title or that type of thing. A priest, a priestess, a Baba, a Babalawo, which I have a beautiful Baba who is listening right now. And he teaches every day, listening to me. I'm honored. You can hear this. Because this is something that we do not do in our communities, in our relationship with money. We don't do it oftentimes in our relationship with love. And we certainly don't do it when you have religious boundaries in relationship to sex, sexuality, and sex positivity. The one shift everything tool before you even are able to receive the work that I teach and the way I teach it is you have to be able to say yes to yourself. Say yes to yourself. But cancel that. That's one yes. But the way you demonstrate your yes to yourself, because we're talking about demonstration, the 7-day process is about demonstrating and integrating abundance and your femininity, and your juicy is giving yourself for joyful, unraveling, unfolding, uncovering, unveiling of intimacies, creative and courageous yes. That's juicy. So the Get Juicy 7 will be that. But the one thing that everybody can use in this day and season that we're in is pay yourself first. Now, let me tell you something. Let me tell you how this was born. When I was teaching the game of yes and how to play it to the online ministry every Sunday for an entire year, it's available on YouTube. When I taught this, y'all, and if you just hear snoring, it's my dog under my desk, and I could put him out. and all that, but this is real life. And he keeps my feet warm. He's underneath my desk snoring. Shout out to T'Challa. Pay yourself first. Let me tell you what happened. I was living in Costa Rica. How many of you all know that I expatriated for a period of time and I answered a call? They call it, some people call expatriated, some people call it, living abroad, digital nomad, all these different things. How many of you knew that I was called to Costa Rica? And I answered a call to a foreign country, but didn't operate as a foreigner. Because when you're home in yourself, then you become, wherever you are becomes home. So answering that call to Costa Rica opened me up to myself, to hear things, to my yes, because I said yes to a call. I want you all to hear this. I said yes 3 years prior to when I made the move. So when I taught the game of yes and how to play it, I didn't know that I was forecasting my own future. So I'm not coming in here with no woo-woo stuff that I just studied and sat in some metaphysical school and just now I'm not clear about how to demonstrate these principles. I even have a blog on Tumblr called to Costa Rica to document a little bit of my journey. So that was another yes. I have many demonstrations of playing the game of yes for those of you who need proof and evidence. But it was when I started, there was things that were shifting in America, and I was learning more about money and my relationship with money. I was learning about my coaching business and things that were kept from me. That's why I'm so looking forward to teaching more about some of the mindset shifts and the secrets I learned in business that translated to profits. And when I was in Costa Rica, y'all with me? Somebody, the motto in Costa Rica is live and let live. And so we started doing investments in gold. I started investing in gold. Now, isn't it ironic that my yes is coming up in 2021 that really started in 2012? Anybody that knows about anagramming and flipping and the science of numbers, that does mean something in terms of mirroring. So sometimes we don't nurture our yes. So some of you already forgot the yes that you got inspired about when you came to the 12-12 Gateway activation session. And so I was studying gold. And of course, you all know that there's no secret that I have been in many forms of ministerial initiations in terms of goddess rites and Tantra and Reiki and all of this. But the goal began to speak to me, and I connected the dots between Oshun and abundance, right? Okay. Because, when we think about gold, we think about Aphrodite, Oshun. All of the gold energy comes from the goddesses who also are usually very in touch with their sexual energy. Have y'all really? I probably shouldn't go here. I was going to talk about strippers and the pole and their relationship with money and all of that. But that's for our private sessions. So in gold investing, I believe, how many of you know that gold and paying yourself first is an act that's deeper than just a savings account? So we had a gold savings account. I learned about gold and natural metals and being able to invest in digital currency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these things. And back in that time period, we had a system where you could, even if you didn't have a lot of money, you could invest in your savings account, take that money, flip it, put it into your digital currency, but let your digital currency make money for you. And before you know it, you can now put it in and reinvest it in your businesses. And people feel good when they say they have a savings account. There's so much shame around not having a savings. But one of the things I had to do, and I teach this, and this is all connected to women and money and our relationship with abundance, and where and abundance is hidden right inside of us, just like gold. I didn't know that gold was something that is in your blood, particularly melanated people. There's a reason. If you looked at the cost of a human body, you would see that there are people in human trafficking and other things that you do need to be concerned about, and not just is it a white van? Understand that you have value. You are the money. So when we talk about my own natural energy yield, gold is a yield. Metals, it yields a certain type of return on your investment. But one of the principles of wealth that I love Robert Kiyosaki for teaching this is you have to pay yourself first. Some of us in love, we want to look at what we're getting. We don't look at, can I give myself freely? Can I accept my partner as he is or she is right now? And so we don't look at all the times what it is that we're giving. We look at what we're going to get. We don't, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes from a lack point of view, when it comes from a scarcity, I didn't have my daddy, so I emotionally invest in every man to love me. That comes from lack. Come on now. Some of you all had babies with it. Some of you all married it. Some of you all are secretly plotting against that one choice, a decision, that yes that you said to yourself in love that has you now blocked and not ready to open your heart again. See, that yes has to be opened up for the women, the single women who are looking to create something new, and the wives who are ready to renegotiate their vows. Come on now. Y'all hear me when I'm talking about your yes, when I'm talking about abundance. So we don't say, how can you say yes to sex? Yeah, you're having sex, but can you say yes to your orgasm first by paying yourself first? Can you pay yourself first with your own orgasm? But many of us are looking for somebody else to give us. Can you pay yourself first with your own passion? Are you doing what you love? Are you expressing it the way you are called to express it? Are you still trying to copycat and be somebody else, or have what somebody else has, or do what somebody else is doing? That is coming from the lack consciousness position. So yes, there's a mindset to pay yourself first, but there's a demonstration to pay yourself first. And this is why many of you want to get something for free for your businesses and wonder why you're not making any money in your business, because you do not continue to invest in your personal development. You do not continue to invest in your spiritual development. This is why I have to even come and remind you of a yes, a yes, a yes. Because we know what we're saying no to. We know we don't want any more heartbreaks, so we say no, and we move with caution. But do you know the power, sister, of your yes, and how it can open up portals of abundance for you? Is it too deep? You know, I said when I come live to the public page, I got to ask you, is it too deep? Because I understand that I'm too deep for some and just on the surface for others, but I'm enough for somebody. Am I giving you enough today? Is that enough? Is that enough? Do you need to digest, or do you want me to break this thing out a little bit more? See, I want to tie the knot, because we have so many places of ourselves bifurcated, trifurcated, broken down, and separated. And so therefore we go to work and we have one personality. We go to church and we have another personality. We come and build a business, a hobby, and in the bedroom you might have another one. So therefore, when you're saying yes to yourself, some of you still have a guilty pleasure relationship with your yes. But when you begin to invest in yourself, put yourself first, put yourself into your own vision. When you begin just with the simple things of your yes, when you take your yes and do a demonstration. When I taught the game of yes and how to play it, go to the YouTube series if you are interested. Subscribe to YouTube. We get real detail. When I taught that series, I used the analogy of the queen on the chessboard. Go check that out, because chess is very strategic and you learn at different levels. When it comes to chess, I'm nowhere near able to fully articulate those particular levels when we're talking about the chess game. But many of us in our lineage have not been taught in our bloodline how to be strategic. Many of us are still reacting on surviving mode. And so when you think about your relationship with abundance and money, then we are thinking about, can I just pay a bill? Can I just get a little bit? And I promise you, I've had some manifestations since then, since teaching from 2012 to now. But I want to just deal with even 2021, from teaching and making a love offering, even in the way that I did with saying yes to yourself. Big manifestations that began with saying yes. Not how, that just ain't gonna happen. And even when I consulted with experts, sometimes, beloved spiritual warriors, spiritual teachers, spiritual leaders, so especially those who are awakened, those who know some things that you can't always say in public, those who were investing in digital currency and Bitcoin and gold and precious metals and like silver long before people started to go into pandemic and crisis, those who were doing online ministries before all the churches caught up to y'all. Heard me say this already before. Those of you who are the first, those of you who are the ones to awaken, you were the ones that your grandmother's grandmother prayed for. You were supposed to be the one. It doesn't matter how anybody is, but can you still say yes to yourself when you're the only one that knows of something? Now, check this out. Sometimes you will say yes to yourself and you're not able to make the moves on the board the way you want to, but you know that there's a game being played, but you still must say yes to yourself and pay yourself first. Robert Kiyosaki talked about how he invested in real estate. The way that Robert Kiyosaki invested in real estate is not the same way that Susie Orman did it, or the Budgetnista, or this one or that one. In fact, he's quite an interruption. He took a little money that he had a credit card, and took that and flipped it. When you get a chance, look at the quadrants, the 4 quadrants, and look at what quadrant you fall in when it comes to your mindset of investing in yourself, because it carries over in everything. Pay yourself first. When we invested in the gold, what I learned was spiritually. Remember, I said who I'm talking to? Spiritually. When you're doing all this sharing on your board, and you're a spiritual leader and all these things, you're not going to tell me there are times when you don't feel disenfranchised because you're not popping your coochie and busting it out and busting it down, and that you're not being a hot girl summer. And some of us, maybe we shouldn't be. That doesn't mean you don't know how to do it. Because as long as you know how to do it and you're willing to do it, then it doesn't matter who sees you doing it. Ooh, that's good for somebody. Because we're in a culture that needs to be seen. But when we look at getting a return on our investment, that pay yourself first shifted everything for me. Because I have been a business owner that had savings, that invested. My mother taught me that. I resisted even when my mother taught me. My mother used to say, baby, I might not have all the degrees that everybody else does. She said, but I got a PhD in common sense. And some of the common sense spiritual principles that we teach, we often pass and override them. She said, I got a PhD in common sense. She said, and that's why all the people with degrees come to me and ask me to borrow my money, because I know what to do with it, because I know how to stretch it. I know. My mama used to talk like this, and I didn't like it sometimes. I used to work, Mama, why you always got to be talking about money? Mama, why you always got to be talking about savings? But right now, when we're talking about people who had to go home and people who are making desperate decisions, and desperate decisions can create the results, But do you want to continue to run your business, run your life, run your marriage, run your love and attraction, run your sexual life based on desperate choices and desperate decisions? Do you want to continue to do business that way? So now everybody's saying, how can I make money? How can I do that? There are answers. But what I'm saying is shift it a little bit. What do you have in your savings account right now? What do you have in your savings? Has your savings been depleted? I have had my savings account depleted through investing in myself, not knowing that the return in my investment was worth the feeling of failure. Oh, that'll bless somebody what I just said right there. When I didn't know that, in other words, you cannot fail when you invest in yourself. We have to learn how to play the game of investment without an emotional attachment. You use your emotions as signals to do your spiritual, emotional, mental work. But when it comes to making money moves, it's not as emotional about it when you lose and when you make mistakes. Because see, what happens is when you make a mistake in love, when you make a mistake in money, when you make a mistake in sex, then you start to say what you ain't gonna do never no more. I want you to revisit the things that you say you're not gonna do. I want you to even consider the people that you say you're through with. What lesson did they teach you? Because if you don't get it, you will repeat it. We're getting ready to go into a season in the month of February with Aquarius's influence, with 7 planets that are going to be influenced by Aquarius, the planet of surprises, the year of elevation, unfolding, and surprises. There are going to be 2 energies that are existing on the planet at any time. And you may want, there's a dance happening between love and fear at all times. The ego is the one that separates you from and puts you on the side of love or puts you on the side of fear. The dance of self-mastery, vision mastery, focusing on your goals begins when you focus in the center. When you focus on not going too far on the light, not going too far on the dark. The dark will inform where you need to go in the light. The light will inform where you need to go in the dark. That's not just spiritual, but if we look at what's happening in our bank accounts, when you have shame and guilt, that's ego. That's going to separate you. It's going to put you on the side of fear. When you have judgment because you so such a much and you're looking at what everybody else is doing and saying what they should be doing or what you can do better. I can do anything better. You know, that kind of thing. Or just judgmental ego. And right now, the energy on the planet is making everybody judge and everybody upset and everybody call teams and call sets. But we are love, we are light, and our liberation through money and currency, the currency is changing. The global currency is changing. Why do you think they're not accepting coins anymore? But there are some people who are paying attention to that, and guess what they're doing? They know the value of silver. They know the value of copper. There's so many different money games that we can play when we begin to say yes beyond our lack, our limitation. But do you want to do it in desperation? Do you want to do it in strategy? Pay yourself first so that you will have money to make moves, to make investments. Pay yourself first in things that's going to yield you a return. Pay yourself first. There's insurance. There's people you can draw money from your insurance. I didn't know that until I started having a relationship with money. I didn't know where money was hidden in places. And when I say money, I'm still talking about my own natural energy yield. And I'm still developing and inviting in my relationship. So do you remember your yes? Do you remember? Now, I dropped a lot of hints in here. And people who are open and awakened to it, you get it. And you say, I'm going to look that up. I'm going to go check that out. I'm going to DM her. But listen, pay yourself first. It is a principle that activates another wealth principle. I promise you, my mother used to tell me, baby, I don't care if you make 22, and this is when I was young. This is when I was a teenager, my first 2 or 3 jobs. She said, I don't care if you make $200, take $10, $20 and put your money in your account. Back then we had Christmas clubs. That's how my mother taught me the principle, pay yourself first. Now I got away from it. I thought paying myself first was getting married and getting a husband that had the things. That's what some of y'all talk about. He got to have this so he can buy me a Birkin bag, so he can put me on. I want to be a part of a power couple. But you know that, sisters, do you know that men who are interested in creating a power couple dynamic are not looking for broke asses, not just broke asses and arm candy. And people who are looking for broke asses and arm candy are not probably what you have in mind. So that's why you see a lot of sisters who it's becoming a little bit of an anthem and that type of thing. But we can't go too far even with that, because we need our feminine. We need to awaken our sacred feminine so that we can become attractive to a divine masculine, for those of you who are interested. But the divine masculine and feminine energy is not limited to gender. There is always a feminine and a masculine dynamic. Now, I know that there are other languages that is being used about femmes and this and that. It's more division. It's more division. All these titles, all these assignments, all these movements. Many of us know what we are fighting against. And there are enough people out here who are talking about what we're fighting against. What are you fighting for in your bloodline? And if your mother did not set you up, a father did not set you up with a savings that you can inherit, what are you going to pass on? Are you going to pass on the same struggle, survival consciousness? Do you know that many people in terms of melanated communities, the reason why a lot of times our family members don't know our struggle, and they certainly don't know what we've overcome, is because many of us have a program mentality. And where did we get it from? That we don't ask for help, we don't ask for support. And sometimes the pay yourself first is the beginning to become curious, to ask, to get in proximities to certain things. Now, all I'm doing is talking about saying yes and paying yourself first. Saying yes and paying yourself first. Why? Because I'm going to keep on teaching and doing this until I see more folks get it. Because it matters. And it's not always that complicated. It's not always something that, that's why when we go into some of these seminars, we get overwhelmed with what it takes to build or birth. Remember, I taught the difference between building and birthing. So I say that to you to look at your relationship with putting money aside that you put back into yourself. That's money. Putting sensual energy, sexual energy, love energy to the side. You put it in yourself so that you can give from your overflow and not from the cup. So I love you all. There's nothing you can do about it. I do hope that you will join us in the Fab Factor. The Get Juicy 7 Fab Factor starts on Sunday. Those of you who are enrolled, check your email spam and promotions folders so that you can do the exercises to prime your pump. I'm going to be sending another piece out that's a part of our launch on Sunday. Going to be sending that out today. So I want to make sure that you are getting your email. How many of you are enrolled in the Fab Factor, the Get Juicy 7? For some people, it's going to be an introduction. For other people, it's going to be a reminder and a reactivation of what you already know, learned, or just need to incorporate. You with me? So anything that you want, if you want to be a part of the business incubator, particularly if you are a coach, a spiritual coach, an energy worker, a creative, an artist, a teacher, a healer, and even if you have a brick and mortar business, but you are a new entrepreneur, get juicy, then come on over and do Rebirth 360, where we're looking at the full circle of our lives, okay, on LaTonyaTaylor.com. LaTonyaTaylor.com is where you can find my 2021 programs. And if you're looking for any type of appointment, booking, or speaking, you can also contact me there, LaTonyaTaylor.com. So come on and rebirth with LaTonya Taylor. Come on and rebirth with me. Come on and rebirth. Master the mind, mastermind the money that, the business that pays you. Mastermind the business that pays you. I love you, and there's nothing. Yes, there's still slots available for this launch. Yes, it is. See you all on the other side. Thank you for watching on IG. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it on IG. I don't know how to end this live, child. Let's see. How do you end the live on IG? But anywho, I'll see you all. Inbox me if you have any questions. I would love to hear your ahas, your favorite frames. And if it was too deep, let me know. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it from you. Hey, Dr. Afi, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I know. Listen, we're going to have you. The brother said he wants to come into our sessions. The business incubator is also for the men that love us. It's not just the feminine business, but it's also for the men that love us. Now, let me figure out how to end this live on IG without losing it. See y'all, love, with love.